Welcome to the Project Libre tutorial. We're going to use Project Libre in this course instead of Microsoft Professional because the 60-day free trial, once offered by Microsoft, is no longer done. And so we're not going to be able to use it. Although Microsoft Project Pro offers more features, most of which we'll probably not use, it's way more complicated and harder to learn. Project Pro is available in the labs, but we can't authorize you to take it home. So any work you do on the Gantt charts would have to be done in the lab. Project Libre, which we're going to use, is open sourced and Java based, so it's compatible with just about any operating system and any platform. You can download it on your devices. It does all we need it to do, and it's free. Yes, it's free. This is a screenshot of the first default slide of Project Libre. Now we're going to go over this whole thing later, but take a look at the first slide. Now look at the Microsoft slide. It's way more complicated, way more buttons. It will take much longer to learn. And the truth is, we really don't need all the functions that they're going to show us here for a basic course in project management. Project Libre tells us that 2.3 million people have switched from Microsoft to Project Libre. This is an ongoing program. It's under construction every day, and so we may see some changes to it in this next 8-week period. And now, on with the show. This will be a short tutorial on Project Libre. I already have Project Libre loaded on my computer, so I'm going to access it. Up comes Project Libre, and the first thing that we're going to notice is the program is locked. We can't do anything until we've gone through the first screen. It always begins with a tip of the day. Now you can scroll through these tips, give you different things that you can do with the program, different ideas, but we can't do anything until we close it. When we close it, we get this little box that says Create Project or Open Project. Again, we can't do anything until we've selected one of the two. We're going to create a project because we have no project saved. The project we're going to create, we're going to call Freezer 1 with your name behind it. Excuse my typing, or lack thereof. The manager will be me. In your case, it'll be you. And we can set the date to start, let's say in the future, the 31st of October. It's a Monday. It's a forward scheduled project, which means it's obviously happening in the future. And we have no notes. Alright, now the first screen pops up, the default screen. It's the Gantt chart screen. And we can now move this around, or we can stretch it out to cover the full screen. Okay, the first thing we're going to notice is the Gantt chart. The data will go on the left, and the chart will be drawn on the right as we enter the data. There are 4 functions in this program: File, Task, Resource, and View. The File function is open, and we can see the subscreens here, the 3 parts: File, Print, and Project. And these are available now. The File functions save like any other system. We push to save. We can open, and here we can open to look for a new project we already have saved. We don't have one saved. We can start a new project. We've already done that, so no need to do it again. We can go in and close the file if we wish. We're not going to do that. We'll close the file. And then we can save this project, save as, which will allow us to save it somewhere else under a different name if we wish, and also save it as a Microsoft project, which is a much more expensive program, which we're really not going to use in this course. Close this out. Now, The next box, the print box, are different ways that we can print. This is easy to print from here. This is my printer. If I push OK, it would print, so we're not going to do that. The preview shows us what it would look like when it's printed. Here we have no data and no chart, so it would look like that. Come up here and click out of that. And then we can select a PDF file and save it as a PDF file. Now we're not going to do that at this time. Over here we have the projects box, and the first one, projects, shows us a list of all our projects, and in this case the project we're currently working on, the name, the start date, when it'll finish, and if you notice the start and finish are the same because we entered no tasks, who the manager is, the status date that we're checking it, which is today, the cost, and there are no costs because we entered no tasks, how many hours of work it'll take up, and actual cost. If we wish, we could add other columns here to enter this data, and there are a whole host of different things we could add. We might want to add a percent complete, for instance, and it would add it over here. Okay, now we're going to get out of this, we'll move to the next file. The information gives us some information on the project. Again, manager, start, finish, the current date, we can add this in here. Tell this current date the 7th. We can look at the different kinds of calendars that there are that we're using. We've selected the standard calendar. Information throughout this, we're going to go over this eventually. Statistics on completion and start, and then any notes we might have. Close that out. Calendar. This is a calendar that the project is going to use. There are 3 basic calendars. The standard, which gives us a 40-hour week, 8-hour days with a lunch break in between from 12 to 1. It gives us a 24-hour calendar, and it also will give us a night shift calendar, so it starts at different times. And we can change these calendars or build our own special calendar, and we'll eventually get around to doing that. The project's dialog is a short version of the information, and we'll get to that later. And the baselines, we can have a baseline, and then we change our project. We can always go back to it, or we can clear our baseline. These are the different tasks that come under the file column. Now, most of our work will be done in the task environment. And the task has several different functions: the views, clipboard, tasks, and we'll look at these here in turn. The primary thing we'll work in is the Gantt chart, and we're going to look at the Gantt chart. That's what it looks like. Information's added here. We can also zoom in on this. Watch over here in this area. When we zoom, we change from a daily schedule by weeks, and we can change this to a hourly schedule. Here we have it every 2 hours, or we can move it out days. You can go to a monthly schedule. We can go to a different version of monthly. We can go to quarterly. We can go to half a year. Go out to a year. So we can go way out or way in. It's a neat little function we can use to break our project into hours if we wish, but most of the work we do will be done daily. You notice that the heavier shaded lines show days that we're not working, and those are set on the calendar that we showed you. In this case, Saturday and Sunday are not work days. We only work 20 days a month. The paste, copy, and cut are all things that we do in a normal way. I'll show you how we do that. Insert, delete, for deleting whole rows. Indent and outdent allow us to set priorities of projects. Link and unlink, we'll get to those. And again, you have the information calendar, all these charts. I'd like to show you how we enter data on this, and we're going to take a look at another chart, and this is basic information that we're going to put into our chart, and we can look at this chart, and I'm going to take the first data, evaluate freezers. Now I can type that in there, evaluate freezers, which is for me very slow and cumbersome. And once I've entered that, you can see that I've got a 1. That's the first line, first project name, the name of the task, how long it'll take, and right now it defaults to day, 1 day, and the day it starts, the day it finishes. And I haven't entered any other information, but we'll look at all these in a minute. And notice that it starts on Monday over here on the Gantt chart side. Instead of typing each line in individually, you could put it on a clipboard and then paste it in at one time, as I've done here. Alright, so what we have here is a list of all the tasks that we're going to have to accomplish. And so far we haven't entered how long the task is going to take. They're all starting the same day, and they all take an entire day. And so our Gantt chart is a straight line. It doesn't show any difference between tasks over time. Now we need to develop a duration. Duration is how long the task is going to last. We enter durations just by typing in how many hours or days or minutes or whatever into this particular box. In this case, our duration is in days. This is a chart I use to collect the data, and so it says here that our duration for evaluate freezers is 2 days. Come over here, we type in 2. The default is days, so it goes 2 days, and we can keep doing the same thing over and over again. Enter the information in there. How to work this. Okay, so the next line is 6 days. 6, and then 2, and then 3. Develop construction is 10 days, and then 2, 5. 2. Now, if you notice, as we enter that information, the Gantt chart begins to develop some depth. Now, this is showing us that the longest task is the critical path, and that's shown to us in a red. We can change those colors later if we want to. And so the longest path is the critical path. Now, it's logical to assume that some of these tasks will have to be done for other tasks. And that's where we develop, say that all 3 of these things, which we'll call 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 have to be done before 4 occurs. So we can take line 4, go to the predecessor column, and put in 1, 2, 3. Now watch what happens to the first 4 tasks. And so these tasks have to be completed before we can do task number 4. Also, we could assign other predecessors, other priorities. We could say we need to do this task. That will be task number 5 after we do task number 4. You can see how the Gantt chart plays out. This time I want to take a look at the boxes for the individual tasks. So the task evaluate freezer, double click on that, and we get a task information box. Evaluate freezer. Duration's 2 days. It's no longer estimated because we know that we have an actual time and duration. If we were doing the task, we could show the completion rate. It would show us how much had been done versus how much has to happen. Successors. What happens immediately after there? Well, the successor for this task, consult with HVAC. This task happens. We could probably take task number 1, evaluate freezers, and do it any time. So we could start this task, let's say, as late as possible. You could see it would start late at the very end. So instead of entering the beginning, it would go out to there. We could cause it to start must finish on, and we could give it a date to finish on. That's probably not the right thing to do there. Anyway, let's take it back to as soon as possible. And we can add notes about this task if we want to. Okay, that's probably enough for now. Let's do the first assignment and enter the information that I showed you to see if you can manipulate this. After you've done that, we'll talk about resources.